have a question for you. Have you ever felt sick because of home conflict, financial struggles, relationship struggles, or maybe unforgiveness? My encouragement to you is to become a prisoner of hope. As long as there is life, there is hope. Consider personal pain and disappointments your best story, your character arc, and an opportunity for design. You will need to decide whether you become a hero or a villain in that story. Here are some baseline strategies I could recommend to achieve your creative dreams. It's very simple, very practical, and it'll at least get your heart moving in the right direction. First one I would like to submit is to set boundaries related to your self-worth. We will only accomplish what our self-worth allows us to accomplish. Our self-worth affects our earnings, our ability to learn, and our relationships. Ponder on that for a little bit. Point number 2, grow in financial intelligence. Know the cost of your dream realistically. Account for both indirect costs and direct costs. So for example, we're at a studio, there are costs involved related to photography, videography, design. Maybe you might have to pay accounting fees. All of that is roll into costs that are obvious, but then you have indirect costs. For example, your productive capacity. Having 30 days in a month is not an automatic sign that all of those 30 days will be invoice days for you if you are a creative entrepreneur, right? You have to put aside time for family, days off. So let's say weekends, if you're using a corporate schedule. So let's take those 30 days, remove the weekends. Let's remove the holidays, right? After that, you may get about 18 productive days for the month. But 18 productive days does not mean you will have a client paying you to work for every one of those 18 days. Maybe you may spend 8 out of those 18 days going after the client. What does that mean? Creating content for social media, updating your website, having briefings, having consultations, maybe having persons cancel. So when you eventually put aside time for going after the client, for filing your taxes, which I hope you're doing, because you have to file green fund levy every 3 months. You have to file business levy if your business has been in operation for more than 2 years, and that's also every quarter. You have to file a corporation tax, right? You have to file your annual returns. And if you have insurance, you definitely need to file it in the middle of the month. So putting aside all of those operational days, you may end up with 10 invoice days for the month. If you match your monthly expenses with those 10 invoice days, you will understand that, let's say your cost for the month is 30,000. It means those 10 invoice days needs to cover 30,000 worth of revenue. And this is why I alluded to the fact that you need to set boundaries on your self-worth. Because as creatives, our work is intangible, and persons may want to fight us down, reduce our costs, negotiate down, and trust me, that does not create a healthy situation. As we grow in our financial intelligence, I would recommend investing in assets first, then expenses. An asset, put very simply, is anything that generates revenue for you, anything that puts money in your pocket, or I may go so far as to say, brings in additional resources into your business. When it comes to growing your financial intelligence, I'd recommend using a structure similar to this just to start. Your earnings will be 100%. From that 100%, give at least 10% as a first priority, invest 10% as a second priority. You can save 15% as a third priority, and then spend 65%. The objective here personally is to live off of 65% of your income as opposed to 100% of your income. Here on the screen is a list of balance sheets taken from Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You will see that the first graph indicates someone who has a job, they get a salary, and then all of the money goes to their expenses, right? The second scenario is a person who earns, they get a salary, and then the money goes straight into their liabilities. Car insurance, mortgage, loans, credit card debt, school fees. And after those liabilities are sucked out, then they pay their expenses. I believe Robert refers to this as the middle class income statement. The income statement of the rich, quote unquote, starts with finance is being generated from your assets and then going into your income, after which you then distill that into your expenses and liabilities. I do not assume this is a straightforward path. I do not assume this is a straight line. It is a useful, helpful reference point. Point number 3, I would recommend positioning yourself for profitability. I'm going to say something that might rock some, that might mask some toes. Clients who pay you $20 will refer you to $20 clients. Clients who pay you $100 will refer you to $100 clients. Right? It may be in your best interest to cater to those clients who are willing to give you a premium payment, right? Of course, there will be those who may need your support as well. As a person of faith, I would say work for your church is free, right? So therefore, balance between well-paid jobs and free work when needed. You will also get those who would try to rally you to do work for them for the sake of exposure, right? But exposure cannot pay your bills. And if you're young, you're going to fall into that trap fast. And young doesn't mean physically young. If you're young in the business, you may get tied up with persons who have an established brand wanting you to work for practically next to nothing or literally nothing because your name is going to be out there because you're with their brand. These are just my recommendations for you to think about. Of course, at the end of the day, the person closest to the situation knows the better decision. That decision is up to you. I'll close with one final thought. This is from John C. Maxwell. He's an author and a #1 leadership expert according to Forbes magazine. John says the fear of human opinion will suck the confidence out of you. For those who know what I'm talking about, a depletion in your confidence and self-worth is going to have a ripple effect on your creative dreams and your financial life. If your dreams have been deferred, if your hope has been deferred, if that has made you sick, I'd encourage you to find one glimmer of hope, to dream again, and to hold on to that as if you were a prisoner. And I hope that hope is healthy.